This is Odin's Wolf Survival in the sunlit subterranean caverns of Wolfhaven. Today we're talking about slow matches, which is basically a cotton cord. It can either be nitrated or not. These are not, and I'm using a tube that you can use as a blow tube. It helps regulate your burn, especially if you wax this. If you wax this, it'll be a little bit harder to ignite. It'll be more waterproof and along that line, but this is a typical slow match, which isn't waxed. They were used, the nitrated version of this was used to ignite matchlocks way back in the day, even longer ago than I've been around. And they used cord like this in World War I. They built trench lighters that used these, that they could ignite cigarettes or cigars, pipes with an ember instead of using a flame that would show up and that maybe they couldn't get fuel for. These, so long as you have cord that's cotton and fairly fine cotton at that, these will work. The only thing is you have to keep them dry. They do not like the wet, so that's the downside. Even nitrated, they do not like the wet. I think back in the day with matchlocks, they kept them under their hat like the longbowmen did with their bowstrings to keep them dry, so that with the bowstrings they would stretch and become useless. With these, when they're wet, they won't take a spark or hold an ember, and there you're in trouble again. So all this is, like I said, this right here, this is one I made, is a piece. I'm using titanium tube, but you can use any tube that you want, varying size. So long as you can find a piece of cotton rope that will fit inside the tube tightly, that's all you need for this. So I got this from Hobby Lobby. It's 1/2 inch. They sell it by the foot. And if you can't find it, just ask one of the ladies in there. They'll lead you right to it. Cut off your length that you want, slide it up in your tube, and it should fit pretty tight. Make your life easier, pre-char the end. You don't have to, but you'll work a little bit harder to get your ember. And to show you how easy this will catch an ember, you open it up, and this is very obviously a very dead big lighter. So you can see the weak spark. And there it's going. That'll sit there and burn like this for a considerable length of time. I'm not sure the burn rate per inch, but it isn't very fast. And with this, you can go ahead and get your stubborn tinder ball to go, get an ember transferred into it. All it takes is a little bit of work. This will hold an ember for, like I said, as long as you need it. And when you don't need it, pull it back. That tends to choke the ember off of oxygen. Finish, if the cord's tight enough in there, that seals the other end from air. It won't get enough in to burn. And before you put it away, you always want to make sure that that ember is out. There it is. And I usually carry it with it down in there because that'll protect the charred end, and wrap the cordage up around it and keep it in a plastic bag or some sort of something. Otherwise you're going to have issues. Wrap it up around it. Like so. However, it doesn't really matter. And then you can store it. Carry it however you like. Help keep it intact. Like I said, you really don't want to get this wet. It'll be a problem. Cotton is one of the things you don't want to wear out because it tends to hold moisture. So keep this dry. Plastic bag, container, anything you want to keep it in. It's not a primary means, it's a secondary. And in your Oshite kit, they're kind of handy because if you have it in there, it's good and dry, you will always be able to get a tinder with a very weak spark. I have ignited these from a flint and steel, although that's more of a trick, but it will work. And a ferrocium rod will get them going almost immediately. Because I'll tend to pull that. Ferrocium rod's pretty simple. I've seen people act like they're Harry Potter casting sparks. Act like they're Harry Potter casting sparks at it. Hold it there. Drag it across. There you go. A lot easier to get an ember if you're looking for that. Simple, easy peasy. This is Odin's Wolf Survival. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Helps me out with YouTube. I appreciate it greatly, and have a glorious day.